welcome to the February episode of Vegetables Matter. This is a craftcast all about my fiber life. My name is Chloe and I'm coming to you from Utah. Right now I'm just working on a little mending project. That's a lot what I've been doing recently, or at least trying to dedicate some time to. It's interesting. I want to talk about the seasons a little bit first, with February coming. Today I think it's the 8th, February 8th. Last week it was, well, the 1st and the 2nd, which meant it was Imbolc or Groundhog's Day or lots of other ways to call this cross-quarter date. So we have the solstices and equinoxes, and then in between those are cross-quarter dates. So yeah, with Imbolc coming, it really was kind of a bit of a shock to me. I think I've been really enjoying the winter. I really enjoy kind of the slower pace. I think this winter I've been really dedicated to, rather than starting new projects and kind of engaging in that, I've been really trying to finish up some things and get some mending in and things like that. And so when Imbolc came around, all of a sudden it was like, you know, very early spring started coming, and it was just, it felt a little too soon to me. I wasn't quite ready for that to come along. So you know, I've been processing that, and I do think, I don't know, I've been going back and forth with just being like, okay, that's okay, you know, Imbolc is the very beginnings of springtime, but that doesn't mean that spring is fully here. There's still time to get done these wintry things that I'm wanting to get done. So I've been trying to not panic, and that's worked sometimes, and then this morning I had another little panic as I'm realizing, you know, a lot of the new projects that are coming up this spring and a lot of the prep that I need to do for them. It can get really overwhelming. Last summer I had some health issues, and that really took its toll. And with Imbolc happening, and you know, I was kind of just pondering different things and really realizing, I've been realizing before, but really realizing that I feel physically really good right now. I feel like I have recovered from that episode, and the winter was just a really lovely time to kind of focus on doing some things that I really enjoy doing. I was able to kind of put some things to rest for the winter that are stressful, and I've been really enjoying, well, yeah, just really been able to focus on those healing things and just self-care, and I feel like it's worked. I feel very strong physically when I'm hiking, which is an important part of my self-care. I feel so strong, and it feels so good to have that feeling. Anyway, so kind of balancing that, okay, I'm strong enough now, and then balancing that with, okay, beginning to take on some projects, but those projects have a lot of deadlines to them, and so really wanting to make sure that I'm doing it, hopefully in a way that isn't too much. But I know, I mean, when a deadline happens, I make sure I do whatever I need to do, and anyway, so I'm worried about some things, but I also, you know, can just tell myself just one step at a time. Today, just do this small part of it, you know, and then you can do this part of it, and then you can do this part of it on some other days. So that's kind of where I'm at. I should have said before I started all of this ranting about Imbolc that I do put timestamps down in the description below, and so you know, if you're interested more in just the fiber doings, then you're welcome to just kind of skip ahead to those things while I do my musings about the seasons. Anyway, so with Imbolc coming, you know, and it was a bit of a rude awakening, but then I started pulling out kind of the seasonal decorations for this time, you know, the pinks and reds and hearts, and, you know, getting prepared for Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is a favorite holiday of mine. I'd like to make a lot of Valentines for people, so just pulling out the supplies for that. It's been fun to kind of redo some of the decor in the house for that. Take off everything from the fridge and just start fresh. That always feels really good. I like to let things kind of build up on the fridge and then take it off and start new. So I got that done, and that's been really nice. And also just kind of been pulling out different pinks and reds in the yarny world as well. See, I'm just about done with this, so let me just tie a knot, and then I can talk about some of these other things. That's one side. I still have the other side to do. I'm putting things in the wrong order. I wanted to talk about mending as well. So maybe before I go on to the pinks and reds and those projects, I'll talk just a little bit. So with mending, right now I'm working on this dress for work. I always end up kind of splitting things because I take too long of a stride, and you hear that ripping sound, you're like, darn it, I did it again. So anyway, just wanting to get this fixed up because this is a really nice thing to be able to wear to work. Yeah, I don't always have the best work clothes, and this is one of them, so I should get it operational again. Right now I'm actually just kind of tacking down, so there is this little flap, and this can kind of come up, so I decided that I just wanted to tack it down this time. So I already did the little mending on the seam, and now I'm tacking it. Other mendings that I've done, which has felt really good, is buttons on a couple different coats, and then kind of along with mending, not totally, but the slippers that I had for my dad last time that I showed, I got the leather soles all sewed onto them, so that was really great. And also it was really motivating as well to work on my slippers, which I'd been wanting to do. So I have those here, and yeah, I just put on these patches. It's nice thick felt, and super happy with it because the felt that I used was my dad's old slippers. So these were what they looked like. I just kind of, to get started, I separated I just cut apart the top from the sole, and then this could have been nice to use too, but I decided that I was going to go for the blue. So there's only one left because I used up all of the rest on that. And even though there's this curve to it, I just thought, I think that'll flatten out, and cut out one there, and then I don't know, one here, and then kind of the smaller little things. And it felt so good. I've hung on to these old slippers just because there is so much nice felt, but I don't believe I've ever actually used them before. So it felt really good to use some old slippers to mend some new slippers. And in the past, I have done a little bit of mending just with some other felt pieces for someone. And I did do something that was kind of nice. I did kind of concentric circles coming out so that it wouldn't be as stark. Like when I put this on here, there's quite a lip right here. Whereas when I did it kind of smaller and then bigger and then bigger and then bigger, it filled in a little bit more evenly, but it's obviously more work, more sewing. So I decided for these, I didn't want to do too much. I knew there would be a bit of a lip, but I thought, I think I'll be okay with that, and I am. It feels really good to just have a solid footing there. Again, I think that maybe when the first day or two when I was wearing them, it was a little bit odd, but I think it's kind of like loosened up a little bit in those more important spots and kind of, smoothed out a little bit. And again, I don't know if everyone would like it, but I'm not extremely picky, and so it's working for me, and I feel really good about having a solid sole again. So those are some of the mending projects I've been working on. I still have lots of others that I'd like to get to. Some of them not even mending, but just kind of finishing up some old projects. Definitely the thing that comes to my mind the most is that linen shirt that I talked about when I very first started this podcast, the hand-woven linen shirt. And I'd like to get to that. We'll see. Again, the seasons are changing, but that is probably next on the agenda. Although there's plenty of other mending projects as well. But I do feel good that I've tackled some of them, and I'll get to the others when I get to them. Okay, I'm going to put that away. One other little thing with the slippers is this was the cuff, and I ended up deciding to cut that part off too, just on the one that I had used all the way up. And I thought that it would be so cute to put to have some cute little embroidery project and have this be the frame for it. So I'm sure that's not going to happen for a while, but I do just think that could be a nice use for this part of it. So, to talk about some of the pinks and reds, I brought out some things that I had done last year, which I had showed on here. These guys, I've decided that, again, I feel a little bit overwhelmed by some things, so this is not the year that these are going to turn into anything. But it also reminded me, this one I had done, oof, the cat has attacked it, you can tell. This one I had done with some lichen dye. It didn't turn out as bright as it can, but I thought, oh, I still have some of that lichen dye left. Let's try it out again. So I have been doing some dyeing a little bit sooner than I anticipated, but I guess it is the stirrings of spring, so even though I had wrapped that up for the winter, I've been doing a little bit more. So, oh, yeah, there they are. So this was the first one that I did. This is the Icelandic, and again, it's not as bright as I know you can get with the lichen dye. Mine just didn't quite oxidize the way it should have. I think it was too crammed in there. I feel a little guilty and bad about that, but I do just think it's a really pretty color. It might be kind of washed out here, but it's a pretty lavender. And then I did this one. This is that white, that brown sheep. It's the name of the company. It's white though. That I had gotten, that I had made my hoarfrost out of. I had gotten the colors for that, and then I also got a white one to dye. And so got this. This is kind of a more pink hue than the other one. And then in the seconds from that, I dyed some of the Rommeldale that I've been working with a lot, and it's slightly more orangey. I think I'll definitely over dye this still, but it's a fun base to have for something now. So that was fun to get a dye bath done. The lichen was stuff that a friend had gathered. I guess when people talk about lichen, they do always say make sure that you're not picking it off of trees and rocks, make sure that it's already down from wind and storm and that kind of thing. So this was rock tripe, which is, shoot, I don't remember the Latin name for it anymore. It starts with a U. And I think that down below as well, I'm going to just add a link to something that Megan, who gathered the lichen and shared it with me, that she had sent me. It's just just a few pages and just kind of a really nice intro to lichen and lichen dyes. So if you're interested in that, then I will include that. Well, I'm going to include it, and if you're interested, you can check it out. I've also pulled out a couple things, kind of as I'm looking at doing Valentine's. Well, I came across an old pussy hat that I made. It's been just last year. This is some hand-spun merino that I dyed with madder root, and I don't wear it, although it actually is feeling a little bit more comfortable than I remembered. I just remember it being too small on me, so I thought that I might just undo it and use it for something else this year. I also have a little bit more and a teeny little bit more as well. So that's another thing that I've pulled out to be inspired by more thinking about maybe like sewing it onto paper and creating some hearts and things like that, and talking about how much you matter. Also with the lichen, I've thought about talking about how much I liken you. So those are just some ideas. Although I've kind of, in the Valentines I've already made, I have used a little bit of this, but I also came across, I was cleaning out my desk and came across some stuff that I've been holding on to because they would be good supplies, but most of it's trash. But then there's this part that I could use, and I thought, I could use this for Valentine's. So I've actually been using those, and that's felt good to have the Valentine's this year be a little bit more about clearing some things out, using them up right now. Yeah, so Valentine's. With this one, these are the other colors that I have. And originally I thought it could be fun to do like a color work. I don't know if those are the colors that I would want to do for color work. It could be fun to do like a Valentine thing with these. I don't know. Like pink is already a little bit hard for me, but I do like to embrace it. But pink and blue together, I don't know that I can quite go there. So um, anyway, but these kind of all match. They're all the same type of thing. So that could become a project or some amount of those things. So this spinning project that I'm working on now, it's kind of been on the wheel for a while, and I'm finally at the plying stage. This is more of the Jacob that I had worked on for my sister. And I've been really motivated to finish it up because there's a few other things in the queue. So this has gotten a fair bit of attention recently. But the Jacob, it's these different colors of gray, well, for white, gray, and like a dark brown, or dark gray, or something like that. And so I've spun this part of the Jacob fleece quite differently than the spin that I did for my sister. This is probably some of the thinnest that I've ever spun. And I also did a little bit more color management with her. The roving just kind of has these different chunks, and I just didn't worry about it. I just, let whatever color come. But this time I kind of split apart some of it, so I would have just the dark part for a while, just the light part for a while, just some of the middle parts for a while. And it's been really fun plying it, seeing it come together, where there really are some nice light parts, some nice dark parts, some marled parts, some in-between parts, and that's been really nice. It's also, like I said, much thinner than I typically spin. I'd always heard that when you first start spinning, it's thick, and then, things get thinner and thinner and thinner, and then it can be really hard to thicken up again. And so I've really tried to hold on to a thicker spin, but this time I just kind of wanted to go for something different as well. So, yeah, it's nice. And I've really liked, as I've been spinning it up, that in the last episode I talked about all these mittens and gloves that I'm wanting to make, and I think as I'm spinning this up, I'm like, ooh, I think this could be a pair for someone. So, and if there's not enough of this, I have more that I could spin up as well. So I feel good and comfortable about it. I kept thinking, because I did have some other things in the queue, and this was just kind of on my wheel just because I didn't have a specific thought, and so I thought, I don't have to finish this random amount up. I have more. It could just go with other stuff. But I was like, I think I do want a solid skein of it rather than just a partial skein. So yeah, this should be a nice skein of it. And again, if I get knitting on it and need more, I can do more of it. The next thing in my queue is I have 1 ounce of Angora, so it should be a pretty quick spin, except again, I do want to do it fairly fine. A couple weeks ago, I went to a class at my local yarn store, Heinzelman's, called All About Angora, about raising Angora rabbits, about spinning and knitting with them. And a big reason why I wanted to take the class is because a couple of years ago at a fiber fair, I had purchased 1 ounce of Angora. I'll show that here. Yeah, so it's just kind of this baggie's worth. The color is Eleanor, because that is the name of the rabbit. This is English Angora, and it's 1 ounce. And I just, I've had it, but I haven't really known what to do with it. And so I just thought this class would be really nice to give me an idea. And indeed, I do have an idea. So the plan is to spin that up. Again, I want it to be quite fine. I want to get a good amount of yardage with it. And then I want to do a 3-ply. So 1 ply will be the Angora, and I'm thinking about plying up some silk that was given to me when I bought my drum carder. They just kind of included it. I don't normally do silk, but I have some, and so I'll definitely use it. And then some type of wool as well. And I don't know exactly what the wool will be that goes with it. That will definitely be farther down the line in the spinning part. But I do want to get the Angora spun up quickly. And then I have another project in the queue as well. So before I go on to the silk and wool, this other part will be there. But I just want to make sure to get the Angora. I took the class, I feel motivated, and so, it shouldn't be a large spin either, just 1 ounce of fiber. I wanted to say, with this Jacob that I'm spinning, I just wanted to talk a little bit more about how I ply it. When I do a 2-ply, I love this technique. It's actually why I bought a ball winder, is because I wanted to have a center pole ball, and I could have gotten some other things, but I decided to go for a ball winder, and so I just do a single, and I do as much of it as I want, and then I turn it into a ball, a center pole ball, and then I just have both together, and I create it. And so when I get to the end, there's no waste, it just gets to the center of it, and I'm done. And I really, really love this way of playing. Okay, so the other thing in my queue for the spinning wheel is more Icelandic. The gloves, the fingerless gloves that I'm making for my husband, I totally thought I had enough yarn. I kept looking at the mittens that they were being modeled after, and then I saw how much I had, and I was like, oh, I've got plenty. This is going to be no problem. Maybe I'll even do like a little hooded part to it because there's so much of this. But this is such a bulkier yarn, it's just taking so much more of it, and so I am running out of yarn and I need more, which was really frustrating at first. I was just like, oh, this was just supposed to be this small little project using up some stash, and of course it didn't work out that way. But I'm feeling happy and motivated about it now. I have more Icelandic, and it is in fresh off the sheep form. So I have this bag of it, and I've started carding it on my drum carder. So I have 2 bats so far. I've run these twice through the drum carder, and I'm just going to keep working away on carding it and spinning it. And one thing that I'm really excited about is that I'm doing this carding project, and I definitely want to spin it all up. Yikes. But there's actually another purpose for it as well. So another thing that's kind of on my mending list is my Icelandic sweater, which, sorry, I'm not wearing it. I should be wearing it right now, but it's so warm. It is really kind of, as I was first getting into knitting for real. Like I grew up knitting, but it was only ever squares, scarves basically. And then I also was doing slippers, but I hadn't really explored all that you can do with knitting. And somehow I got into spinning and garment making at the same time. And so my first ever, more fancy project was also hand spun. So I spun a bunch of Icelandic. I kept it as singles because I didn't know any better, and I lucked out because Icelandic is totally strong and good. And a friend was making this sweater, and I thought, oh, that's fabulous. And so I just made what she was making. I didn't know really about finding patterns and doing all of that. I just was like, oh, great. And it is this boat neck sweater. And it's not my favorite, especially, over the years it has stretched out some, and so it really kind of falls off the shoulders. And even before that, it just was awkward to put over something. Things kind of bunch up under it. It just was harder to wear than I would like. And so this year I thought, it would be fun to like unpick that edging and like keep knitting it up and get a better neckline that I'm happier with. And so I'm pleased that as I'm going into finishing these mittens for Daoud, I will also be, I definitely have plenty to also be spinning for that sweater. So I'll keep as singles, and I'm going to have to go thicker for that, which I'm looking forward, after doing some thin stuff, to then trying to mimic really like my first spin, my first larger spin. I've done a few other little things, but my first bigger spin, and to keep as singles, and then also for the gloves, I did a 3-ply, a chain ply, and so to try that again, because again, I've only done that the one time, and I didn't do a very good job of it, and so I'm looking forward to trying that again, and hopefully learning a little bit better technique for doing the chain ply or Navajo ply. Got some nice dark stuff. I just finished a nice white section, and then there's a little bit of marled in between, and now it's dark. I'm pleased with how often they are lining up. Oop, not anymore though. That's okay though too. I think these are going to be really pretty as mittens. Kind of seeing these different colors shift and change. I think it'll be fun to knit with. So I'm working now on these fingerless gloves for Daoud. I haven't gotten very far, but I have the cuff, which has been, that was double, and then I did a 3-needle, not bind off, but a 3-needle work together to get that up there. And I've just continued on. I have been running out of yarn. I only have this much left. I like using the magic loop technique. This loop is excessively long, but it's just kind of what I grabbed and had on hand. And I guess I just haven't been bothered to swap it out. So yeah, I really slowed down on this because I saw that I was running out of yarn. But luckily, I'm not very picky, and nor is my husband, and he was really happy with the idea of, if the other, as I'm making more yarn for it, if the other one's a different shade of blue, then that could be the different glove. And he's like, oh, that way I can always know which one's the left one and which one's the right one. So yeah, I feel pretty content to just keep using this up, and then slowly be working on creating more yarn for the second one. Just kind of continue slowly working away on these things. So feels good. I haven't worked on this for a while. It's fun to pull it out today and work a round or two. So when I work on this, because of the indigo dye, I think I didn't like properly rinse it, like at all, possibly. I think I forgot about doing that. And so when I work on it, my hands turn blue. You see, even just doing those couple rounds, there's a line right across there where I hold it, and as I continue working on it, then they just get bluer and bluer. So that's kind of a funny thing. And I have another project in the same boat. Both of my knitting projects right now are that way. Got this one, and then I also have the um, birds and ships cowl, which I'm actually not having be a cowl. I'm turning it into another hatdana style thing. And so I've been working on that. That's been my work knitting. In January, my mom and I went to New Orleans together for a long weekend. I'd always wanted to go, and we do a trip together every other year, so we decided to go there. And so I started working on it there, and it was really fun and nice. This is what I have so far. I'm just about to join it together to then knit a little bit more and create it. I don't really know what I'm saying. Anyway, but it's going to keep going. So there it is. This is that Rommeldale that I dyed with first copper and then walnut and then some indigo. So it's kind of these varying hues. So you start here with this garter tab cast on, which I hadn't done before. It's been really fun. I've enjoyed how it creates this edging along here. And I really enjoyed how this one started. As I was starting the project, I really needed to focus and pay attention to what was happening. And then now, as I'm more used to it, then I have all of this long area of garter stitch as well, and so I really don't have to focus very much on it at all. The lace panel is quite small and quite simple. So yeah, this has been a fun project. I'm slowly working my way on. Right now, it's turned into work knitting, so I get a little bit done when I can. The last thing, in New Orleans, I wanted to go to a yarn store and get some yarn. And specifically, I was wanting some cotton or linen or something like that kind of is more appropriate to that area. Because this summer, it will be the Summer Olympics, which I kind of follow the Yarn Harlot on this one. I think she kind of started the Knitting Olympics, which I know people aren't supposed to call it that. It's the Ravelinic Games, and people do all sorts of things. But I really love the way that she originally envisioned it, where that is the Winter Olympics and it's knitting. And then she did this great post another time where people were asking her if for the Summer Olympics she was going to do it, and she's like, no, every sport only has its chance every 4 years. She's like, but someone else could take Summer Olympics if they want. She says, crocheters, anyone? And I just thought that was fabulous. So I do plan to participate in the Crochet Olympics. I think I'd like to do the Oaxaca tunic. Oh, I haven't opened this yet. So when I went to New Orleans, I thought that I wanted to get some of the yarns in preparation for that summertime thing. This is what I ended up finding. They packaged it up all nicely, and I guess I've decided to keep it like that until I could show you. Oof. And now it's going to make all sorts of sounds, and etc. So let's open this up. It ended up being a lot more expensive than I would have liked, and I didn't even get as many colors as it calls for. So this was, it's 75% cotton, 25% flax from Sestari is the brand, and Sestari Sheep and Wool Company in Churchville, Virginia. So I'm hoping that it's actually cotton that is grown in Virginia. That would make a lot of sense. I have this green, And then this darker green. Lupa? Uh-uh-uh-uh. Lupa, no. Lupa, you be nice. And then in all the Oaxaca tunics that I saw that people have already made, I really liked the oranges and yellows and things like that. It just seemed like from that area more, just kind of embracing the colors that you would find perhaps in Oaxaca. And so yellow, this definitely isn't the color that I would normally go for, although I'm super pleased with it. But I really wanted to get some yellow or orange to go with it. I spent quite a bit of time at the shop kind of making my choices, and my mom helped me out a lot. So this yellow, and then I got some white because yeah, these were rather pricey. But in the Oaxaca tunic, it does call for like at least 5 colors, and I just couldn't. I was just trying to make it fewer rather than more. So I thought that I would dye this with some indigo, maybe even split it in half, dye some with indigo, maybe some with even madder or something like that. But I could dye maybe a couple colors with this. And then after I got them, then I thought, oh, I could even over dye some of these a little bit as well and get even a few more colors. So that's the plan right now. We'll see how it goes. Plans don't always work out as you expect, but there it is. So got some preparations for the future and kind of trying to patch some things up and working a little bit on knitting, dyeing, and spinning. Spinning's been really good. Lupa! Okay, I'm gonna go now. My dog is wanting to jump the fence. So I'm gonna focus on her. But thank you for joining me today. And it's a beautiful February day, quite lovely. I even had this off earlier and was just in a short sleeve shirt. Yeah, enjoy your day, enjoy your crafting, and I will talk to you next time. Thank you so much for watching and being here with me. Bye-bye.